Hi guys and welcome to this video. Yuri is here. After a bit of a break, we continue our series on writing multiplayer games with Node.js and JavaScript. And since there was a break between the previous video and this one, it was like a few months of a break, sorry for that guys, the technology landscape changed and those changes affected our game development project in a good way. The best thing that happened during this time is Node.js and IO.js. This project have merged together, and now Node.js, its most recent version 6.1.0, it already supports like 98% of ECMAScript 2015 syntax, the syntax that we are using on our server. And it supports that syntax without any extra flags. So that means that instead of writing all those flags like we used to in the previous video, what we can do is just write node server.js and it runs without any extra flags, any extra actions. It just works, which is great. So from this point on, update your Node.js if you haven't done that yet, and just use node server.js to start your application. So now let's get back to our application. Here's our game. I'll remind you of this interface, and in this video what I want to do, I want to make this interface slightly more pretty. I want to add some CSS because this is just pure HTML, and pure HTML always looks ugly. And what we want to do, just make it slightly more usable and slightly prettier. We will not do a significant amount of JavaScript coding in this video, so if you are a CSS expert and you can style this thing up without my help, feel free to skip this video and jump straight to the next one, where we'll show how to use ECMAScript 2015 syntax on the client side in the browser. So in this video, let's jump and create some CSS files. So what I'll start from doing in client folder, I'll create a new subfolder called CSS. And in that subfolder, I'll create a new file. I'll call it main CSS. Okay, so now it's a good time to plug this file into my main index HTML. So I'll create a link with relation, style sheet, and hyperreference to CSS, main CSS. So after that, browser will load my CSS and apply the styles from CSS to my little game. So the first thing that I want to do, I want to center this thingy, this interface on the screen. And I have a nice little class here called wrapper, the div called wrapper, that will help me to do that. So the first thing that I will do, I'll add the style for wrapper. I'll say that the width of the wrapper will be, say, 400 pixels, and the margin of the wrapper will be 0 auto. And that will center the div on the screen. I'll also add some sort of a background color. Let's select something very light, like this, light gray, just to see the outline of a wrapper. Also, what I'll probably do, I'll change the fonts a little bit. Awesome. So that should make our interface slightly prettier. Yeah, much better. So what the next thing to do? The next thing to do is get rid of that little bullet. So this part is right now styled as a list, while in reality it is not really a list. It is just a sequence of messages in the chat. So we want to remove this list styles and apply our own styles. So what I'll do, firstly, where is my list? The list ID is chat. By the way, it's residing inside of a div called main. I don't remember why I used that div at all, but I'll remove it now. I will not need it in my CSS. And now I'll add some styles for chat. So chat will have margin, nothing, padding, nothing. I might change my mind later, but I'll just need to have a look how it will look like. And list items of that list will have list style type none. That will remove those bullet points. Let's see how our browser looks. Okay, so that looks much better. So it's all tied together, but we will add a little bit of space. Now, what I like to do really when I develop CSS, I don't like to write CSS blindly and then see how the CSS is reflected on the page. What I usually do, I just open the developer tools. Let me see how I can make the screen visible on video. So what I usually do, I just focus on the part that I want to change, like list item, this guy, and I'm trying to apply the style straight away in the browser so that I see how it will look like. I want to add a little bit of padding. Let's say the wrapper will have padding of 5 pixels. Right, 5 is a little bit too little. something like 10 will do much better. So padding 10 pixels to the wrapper. What else we want to do? I think I'll add a little bit of padding between the list items, because right now text is too much stuck together. So what I can do, I can say padding top and something like 3 pixels should be good enough. Yeah, text looks better now. Okay, so now what we can also do, we can change the styles for buttons. But now let's save the changes that we did so far, because otherwise there is always a chance to lose them. List item padding top of 3 pixels, and the whole wrapper will have padding of 5 pixels. Awesome. So now I want to add a style for a button. For all the buttons on the page. Button will have font size. It will be bigger. Say 20 pixels. So that I definitely do not miss those buttons. See how that looks? Well, frankly it sucks. My design skills suck, but at least it looks a little bit more clickable. Let's look again in our HTML. I've got two divs here. One is called the chat controls. The second one is called game controls. Well, they really do pretty much the same thing. What they really do, they separate the row of controls from the other row of controls. So why don't I just give them the class of called row? And this one is another row. Okay, so now I can add the description for this class somewhere in my CSS, like here. Row will have padding, top and bottom padding will be 5 pixels, left and right 0. Let's see how that works for us. Yeah, it looks slightly better, not drastically better, but still better. The next thing that I want to do, I want to make this control proportional. Since I don't have many inputs on my screen, what I'll do, I'll apply the style for all the inputs. Same font size, 20 pixels. So the last thing that I want to do, I want to make sure that this effect doesn't occur. So see, as I'm adding more chat messages, my chat moves all the way down to the bottom of the page. Now it looks even uglier. What I want to do is to limit the height of the chat to some value and even keep that value constant. So what I need to do that, I have the unordered list called chat. I'll give it a height property. Say the height is like 200 pixels, should be good enough. Yep, looks good. So now let's see what happens if I add more messages. Hello, and hello there. And something meaningless, and I start to add more. See, F already is behind the rock and the other text goes behind my controls. What happens? Well, this is the overflow behavior for the unordered list. It just shows all the content that you type on the screen. So what do we need to do to change the overflow behavior? Just say overflow Y. Overflow on the Y-axis, it means on a vertical axis, will be scroll. So there will be a scroll bar if there is too much content in this unordered list. So let's see how that works. Now you'll see that, well, at least the new letters, they do not appear behind our button, behind our control. There is a scroll bar. However, if I type here hello right now and send this message, yeah, it appears, but it appears on the bottom and the user doesn't see it immediately on his screen. To fix that, I really just need to write one line of JavaScript code to scroll the new list item into the view. And where I will do that, I'm adding the new list item in onMessage function. So here, what I can do is I can say list scroll top equals list scroll height. That will basically mean scroll all the way down. Let's see if that works. I'm adding more text, and as you see, as I add more values, hello world, my view, my chat view is scrolling down, showing me the latest, the most recent message on the bottom. So that's it for this video. Now our game looks slightly better. There is still more things to improve here, and I'll leave it up to you, and I'll show my version in the next video. And in the next video, we'll see how to use ECMAScript 2015 syntax on the client side. See you then. Bye.